Let's work on hip mobility, finding those limits and those movements that increase the mobility through the hip at both the joints and in the muscles and ligaments surrounding. The space between your hip bones will need to remain neutral. You'll want to maintain that neutral position as you straighten your top leg. Straightening the top leg, try to keep that hip in the exact same spot without squeezing through the hip and connect to the glute behind you. Do the same thing lifting the leg halfway up. And then we'll take that leg all the way up to the ceiling and hold it there. Still, your high point may not be as high as mine was. Reconnect to that pelvic position and breathe. Lifting that knee up out of that neutral position, begin to create circles with your knee, up, out, and around. Reversing, you're almost going to that internal rotation down, up, and in, staying kind of level with that hip. We're now going to repeat on the other side. Next, we're going to lay down on our backs. Taking your knee into that tabletop position, we're going to work in that hip flexion. Extend that leg straight out, and then bend the knee to come right back over that hip. Keeping it simple, try to stop right over that hip. Looking for more, knee comes toward the chest, right back over the hip. See how that feels on that hip joint. Putting two and two together, extend the leg out, come all the way into that flexion of the hip, back and forth, all the way in, all the way out. Give that knee a hug, return the foot down to the floor, and we will switch sides, starting with tabletop, extension, bend, and lengthen. Next up, that knee is going to actually come closer to the ribs, back into closer to a tabletop. Two and two together, all the way lengthened, all the way in toward the ribs. Again, each one of your hips is unique. One may go further than the other, and that's okay. Maintain that neutral pelvis the whole time. Coming onto your stomach, we're going to be lifting the knee off the mat, looking for more of an extension in the hip. I want to lay on my stomach, press my pubic bone down, and squeeze my glutes. As I do that, I bend one knee and lift up off the floor and lower back down. Switching legs, same thing. Control the hips, pelvis, and glutes. Return that foot down, bend the knees, bring the soles of your feet to touch behind you, almost like your feet are in a prayer position. Hold this open, hipped position as you breathe. Coming up next, we're going to bring our knee in front of us with the foot in front of the opposite hip. There are progressions available. Once you get settled in this position, your back knee is down, your toes are tucked under. Option 2, bring the thigh to the floor, release the toes, and eventually even come to the forearms, or even rest the forehead on your palms. Come up, switch sides, remembering those progressions. They're all the same. Start simple, and then find that position that works best for your body. Again, each hip is unique and the range of motion may differ from side to side. Finishing here in a butterfly position, bring the soles of your feet together, lift the chest and hinge forward at the hips. And when you can't hinge anymore, round the spine and release.